billion planets. But are we alone? Sane answer would definitely be. They dispatched two FA-18 Super Hornets pilots to investigate about that object. They reached the desired location and looked down at the sea and also noticed a turbulent oval area of churning water with foam and frothy waves, as if the waves were breaking over something just under the surface. A few seconds later, they noticed an unusual object hovering with erratic movements at a height they estimated to be about 50 feet above the churning water. Both Fravor and Slate later described the object as a large, bright white tic-tac, 30 to 46 feet long, with no windshield nor porthole, no wing nor empennage, and no visible engine nor exhaust plume. Fravor then made a more aggressive maneuver, plunging his fighter to aim below the object, but at this point, the UFO apparently accelerated and disappeared in less than 2 seconds, leaving the pilots pretty weirded out. Radar detect target 60 miles away within seconds. To actually get there within seconds would have required an airspeed of at least 42,000 miles per hour. By the time the Super Hornets arrived, the object had already disappeared. Super Hornets returned to Nimitz. After the return of the first team to Nimitz, a second crew took off in order to find that object, this time equipped with an advanced infrared camera. They spotted the object and recorded what appeared to be a moving object. The mystery object moved at hypersonic speeds, flying tens of thousands of feet above the Earth. Initially, the pilot seemed to find difficulty to lock the object, but eventually he did lock the object.
Echo 6-1 Tango, object over.
Oh, got it! Woohoo!
Roger, there's troubleshooting as soon as I get
Did you box moving target?
02.
No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
In 2015. In March 2015, the Roosevelt left the coast of Florida and headed to the Persian Gulf. Navy pilots from the VFA-11 Red Ripper Squadron began noticing strange objects on radar systems on its FA-18 fighter planes. It's accelerating to hypersonic speed, something beyond the physical limits of a human crew.
Dude, that is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Both UFO footage who had applied for permission to share them across several government agencies as a part of a database of unnamed aerial vehicles he was allegedly compiling. The Navy isn't offering an explanation, at least not publicly, for exactly what that object was, but the service is confirming the authenticity of that video and 2 others taken from its planes in 2004 and 2015. The crew of a military service plane, busy with a routine anti-drug trafficking surveillance flight, caught sight of 3 unidentified objects on their radar. As they couldn't see anything with the naked eye in the area where the objects were supposed to be, they turned on their infrared camera to track them. For the next 30 minutes, they recorded 11 unidentified objects moving through the sky at a very high pace. One of the objects also seemed to divide or separate into 2 different objects. After chasing them, there were a few tense moments when the radar confirmed the objects had surrounded them. In a completely uncharacteristic move, the Mexican government released all the details of the event, and they provided the crew footage and the head of the Mexican Air Force for examination and questioning by the world's media.
Van más, siguen más atrás. Son 10, 11 objetos.
Son muchos objetos.
Afirmativo. Ahí van. Va, uno. Y ahí van los atrás. Siguientes.
¿Qué es eso? Dios mío.
¿Se andan correteando?
¿Qué es eso? A ver.
Ahí van.
Ahí van.
3, 4, 5, 6. Son 6.
Abajo o arriba o arriba.
En medio ahí van,
Ahí van a ir 1, 2, 3,
a la misma
4,
altura.
5.
Qué barbaridad,
Ahí se van a ver bien. Y van a una velocidad, pero... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 en la pantalla.
Síguelo, no lo cierras.
Están en la misma.
Were orange and red lights present in the sky, which were moving in a western direction. Being a commercial airline pilot, Edding often observed the sky and knew that these lights were unlike anything that he had ever seen. He then took out his binoculars and ushered his neighbors to come outside and see what he was looking at. In a later statement, Edding said that even cars on the highway pulled over to watch as the lights passed over Interstate 84. Police reports confirm Edding's statement, showing that between 9:30 and 10:15 p.m., over 200 people reported seeing a UFO in that area. Edding was also able to capture a picture of the lights as it continued to move. His images depicts a multicolored semicircle composed of various colors. Witnesses also claimed that their vehicles completely lost power while the UFO was above them. Minutes later, calls came in from the nearby town of New Milford. A Chilean Navy helicopter Airbus Cougar AS-532 was on a routine daytime patrol mission, flying north along the coast, west of Santiago. On board were the pilot, a Navy captain with many years of experience, and a Navy technician who was testing an FLIR camera, used most often for medium-altitude cover intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. The aircraft was flying at an altitude of approximately 4,500 feet. While filming the terrain, the technician observed a strange object flying to the left over the ocean. Soon both men observed it with the naked eye. They noticed that the velocity and the altitude of the object appeared to be the same as the helicopter, and estimated that the object was approximately 35 to 40 miles away. The technician aimed the camera at the object immediately and zoomed in with the infrared for better clarity. Shortly thereafter, the pilot contained 2 radar stations, one close by on the coast, and the other the main DGAC control system in Santiago, to report the unknown traffic. The pilot tried several times to communicate with the UAP using the multi-nation civilian bandwidth designed for this purpose. He received no reply. The technician filmed the object for 9 minutes and 12 seconds, mainly in infrared. The officers stopped the camera when they had to return to the base, and the object disappeared behind the clouds. The Navy immediately turned over the footage to the CEFAA. Air Force photo analysts confirmed ruled out a bird, flying insect, drone, parachute, or hang glider. It can be concluded that the object has all the characteristics to be classified as an unidentified aerial phenomenon. In 1990, the Control Reporting Center, CRC, at Glon's radar confirmed triangular objects in the sky above Belgium after having received various reports of unusual lights as bright as stars that changed color. After receiving a second radar confirmation, 2 F-16 jets were scrambled to intercept. For more than an hour, the F-16s tried to intercept. On 3 occasions, they even obtained radar lock, but every time the objects would change their position or accelerate so fast that the locks were broken. During the first radar lock, the object accelerated from 150 miles per hour to more than 1,100 miles per hour, while changing altitude from 9,000 feet to 5,000 feet and back up to 11,000 feet in less than 2 seconds. These changes in altitude at the speeds reported would have been fatal to any human pilot. During the whole time, more than 13,000 people witnessed the unfolding drama from the ground. After a little more than an hour, the objects disappeared from the various radar screens and the F-16s returned to base.
These speeds would be impossible to tolerate for a human being. That's a first point. A second point is the visual observations always describe a system, a machine, which hangs and hovers above the surface at quite a low altitude without making any noise. Now, with the current technology, that would be impossible.
Setting in Phoenix during 1997, several witnesses claimed that the object moved extremely fast. Some of the witnesses, of which one is a private pilot, believed that military aircraft chased the object and that it turned around and traveled back to the direction where it originally appeared from as they spotted F-16s in pursuit. After almost 2 weeks after denying any aircraft was operational in the area, detailed radar report obtained from the FAA, which clearly showed a very large object in the sky, tailed by the jets at the exact time witnesses claimed they were seeing the unidentified object.
Witnesses say he watched it through his rifle's telescopic lens and describes it as a very large and without seams, nuts,